Ugandans came in to give serious feedback about his remake of this song. Very many opinions were shared, and I'm pretty sure my colleagues here also do have quite a lot to say about that. But we'll be getting into all of that. Good morning, you got a Friday special. It is Friday once again. We are here. My name is Philomena Mastiko, 24th of February 2023. We are here to close up the week. It's been a very hectic week, I must say. Personally, it has been very, very tedious. I don't know if my colleagues here can share the same sentiments on that. Maybe Robert, hear from you. Good morning. Happy Friday.
Happy Friday to you. I'm usually called Bob on Friday.
Actually, Uncle Bob. Yes.
Friday. So the week has been, to me, it has been very interesting because it was full of a number of things happening in this country that make one laugh. Of course, not laughing with joy, but anger.
Okay.
For example, things coming in from Parliament, those who annoy you. Then when you look at social media, for example, that song where Kenzo gave us a version. You know, the violence people are having. You ask yourself, you're not an artist. You're the DJ, but you go to someone who has sat down, put something. Yes, Philomena, you know, Bongo retire, that icon. But you just ask yourself. Now, yesterday, it began raining at around 2. I do social media. This one Muje thing. You know, there's one animal somewhere called Gravito. Then you see the public. Of course, as a born again, I know there is power in naming.
Yes.
For example, Gwanga Muje in Uganda is not a good drum. When they sound Gwanga Muje, it's a very bad drum. They have killed someone, so they are calling that, oh, thieves have attacked you, or it's Gwanga Muje. We have Sagaragaramide, it calls people to come and work. Sagaraga, maybe they are going to clean a well. But if you are a Ngoma Jibaita Gwanga Muje, Tegeza Miteru. So, exactly. But it chose to me is concerned. Maybe it meant something else. But I saw people saying again it's going to rain. Like,
there is too much negative energy around.
Why? You know, because someone you assume has no connection to, has no even reason to be upset by Kenzo's song. Tolimu music, Tolimu. But you also feel you must attack the guy, you must abuse the guy. Then when you go to politics, we saw that election and say that by-election.
Yes.
Allegations that were coming in. They were being dismissed by the Electoral Commission and what. But one thing I liked is power of the sympathy vote. And I tell people, certain set precedence that the son of the late Kabe, Emmanuel Omoding, finally came out as the winner. Noop had one of the best candidates, Alisada Alaso. She had represented that district woman district MP for 3 consecutive terms. That is 15 years. Alice Alaso in opposition, she's one of the guns. Now NRM, the mass party, also having gone on the ground there with their candidate, the president campaign and all that. But the sympathy vote brought it all. Because the son said, my father has died, he gave people who they had supported. But NRM said, we stick to our flag bearer. He could have lost in that election and your father came as independent, but aligning to NRM. So sympathy vote. So for me, that's at least a bit of, okay, we've set precedents, maybe that is okay. But by and large, for me, I'm not, this violence, this...
There is too much violence and it's coming in from...
people bombing words,
there's too much coming in from all corners, hearsays, rumors, and all of that.
Cool down,
Cool
down.
Mollen, good morning.
Yes, a very good morning to you, and of course I want to say good morning to Ugandans. It's Friday. Now, Robert does make a sandwich of everything going around, and you wonder what Ugandans can do at this point. But I'm telling you, I think there is a lot of hype when it comes to certain stuff. And sometimes you don't blame people for taking it to social media. it seems like that's one way to get everyone into dialogue. That's one way to involve everyone into a conversation. So when we're having stories, especially about, you know, this whole concert thing, yesterday you would look at the trends in Uganda and it's rain, gwanga muje, chameleon. And that's everything, that's all Ugandans were talking about at that particular time. And it makes you wonder whether people are excited that it should rain, or they're just looking out for, you know, or maybe sympathizing. And I did not see, I don't think there were any sympathizing messages coming through with those trends. Everything was just negative. And, well, you might not like the concert or whatever, but it says a lot. But also it is an eye-opener. And I'll say this once again. Event managers, if you're going to have some of these events, please consult. They are experts. Before you set a date, why don't you consult people that could actually give you information on better days to prepare or to have an event? This is something that the Western world has taken on. They don't go out there and just have a date. If you look at even the big artists like the Beyoncés, whenever they are going to make world tours, they actually consult to make sure that they are going to a certain place at a certain time or period. You don't hear that there has been a you know, a cyclone in California, and that is the time Beyonce had a concert there. No, they actually consult and they know the seasons to put such dates for tours. So I think we should adopt the same thing here, and we avoid certain stuff. It is unavoidable. I mean, it's avoidable. So why not take that option?
There is a man who is folding his face next to you, Felix Nkunda. Please talk to us. Good morning.
Was I? Was I really folding my face? I was just amazed by what Mollen was saying here. And in my mind, I was thinking, consult? Who? The people who determine if they have failed to assist farmers. Now,
well, what do you mean failed? Because what I'm saying is the science is there. We have made predictions in the past on the forecast. And don't talk for farmers. They are actually aware that we give forecasts that help them in their seasons. Now, saying that the season is not performing and telling them that it won't perform and doesn't perform is not our fault. We already let them know. And Uncle Bob here is a farmer. He will testify to the fact that we've informed farmers of the variations in climate. And they are aware. Now, something goes for most of these events. Yeah, if you come and consult the weather expert, they will tell you the periods to actually have outdoor activities. Are you looking for a day that is when it's going to rain to have an event? Of course, you look out for days. You look out for seasons that actually have more drier days.
That time was supposed to have Gwanga. It came out of, I don't know, it lasted for about 30 minutes. It was gone.
Those are showers. And actually, if you play back into the forecast I gave yesterday in the morning, you'll see that we had that forecast in the morning. We actually had it right here on TV.
In the morning? So
yeah, forecasting that the rains will be there. And it was there. So what I'm saying is, people, these things don't come out of nowhere. The science doesn't lie.
I need to hear from Felix.
Today's forecast should Mollen. Should you say it's not going to rain and it disrupts Gwanga Muje, wherever I'm going to look?
Well, you have to pay for my services if you want me to give you the forecast about Gwanga Muje. Are you willing to put that bill?
No, I need to hear from Felix. I need to hear from Felix.
Why?
I know, Mollen and Roberts, I am going to ask you, I need to hear from Felix.
Apparently, about Mollen's issue, I don't have anything to say.
You have a lot to say, and
I will leave her science to her. And to those who will
Good choice.
Yeah, who will.
Good choice.
Clearly, because me, as I've said, if all that is being said was actually what happens, trust me, like everything is upside down when it comes to some of those. There's a time these guys came out to apologize and say, my name is Sonia Febintu. Like, there's a lot of hullabaloo around. But sometimes.
Maybe 50 years ago.
I wasn't here 50 years ago. Oh, no. Anyway, but away from that, as I said, I'll leave that to Mollen and to the scientists, as they call themselves. But of course, many activities throughout the week, as you guys were saying, much of what did top the day was the Serere by-election, I guess, in terms of politics. But also, this whole iron sheet thing. we may not we may not resist to mention the clutter that has come with it. Yesterday I saw again the parliamentary members of that region coming out to, you know, to blow fire. And you know, it's hilarious, I must say. It's hilarious what's happening in our country. Far from that, we also had a school that did get an arson attack. Quite depressing there. On top of all that, the police crime report. Now, my biggest interest, in as much as we did have a discussion about it yesterday, if you did take time to look at these family offenses, the crimes of passion, the family offenses, and all these other kind of offenses that are entangled with family, you will be surprised that there's a slight increase, regardless of the fact that the numbers could have, of course, there are explanations about the COVID times and what, but there's a question for us to answer. How does sweet turn to sour? Is that scientific? Is there any way, like, how is that even explainable? How does sweet turn into sour? The once darlings now are enemies. Maybe I could ask Bob, at what point where do the things go wrong? You meet someone and you're all over each other, and then the next day this person is no longer Chirabo, is a dog, is a pig, is what is.
With human nature, by virtue of being human beings, first, the foundation of what brought you together matters so much. If it was money, money may not be there. If it was the beauty, this girl could lose shape and figure, everything. So what brought you to that person is no longer there. And that is when you feel it's now a problem, not an opportunity, not a partner. But also human beings are human beings. One thing I've learned is that animal is very hard that mammal is very hard to understand. Anything can happen.
We are going to...
Out of the blue, someone can just get tired of you. Someone may want to be independent again. And also says, no. So that mammal...
Well, there is really a lot that changes. If we could get into that topic, I can tell you that we'll spend a week here. But we'll look at our local stories and international stories. Of course, aside from what we talked about, there is also a lot that is happening. Robert.
We'll begin with government's commitment to ensure that it continues supporting the vulnerable children to access, that is higher education in higher institutions of learning. Now, this was revealed by the Vice President, retired Major Jessica Alupo, at the graduation at St. Lawrence University, where she was being installed as the Vice Chancellor, replacing former Vice President Emeritus Chiwanuka II.
We're now still looking at local stories. We shall cross into the by-elections that did happen in Serere, where we see a low turnout for voters. Claims of intimidation, arrests and voter bribery have dominated the Thursday 23rd polling process in Serere County parliamentary by-election. However, according to police and the Electoral Commission, such allegations are baseless and aim at discrediting the principles of democracy.
Moving on, Ministry of Education and Sports has warned schools that defy the guidelines to retain the fees for third term, but increased the charges without permission from the Permanent Secretary, that it is wrong because they will soon act to address this, was being discussed by Cabinet. While opening this year's Senior 5 selection and placement exercise at Lugogo, the Permanent Secretary, Ministry of Education and Sports, Katie Lamoro, said investigations have commenced to get to the heads of these schools.
Now, government has been advised to adopt the model of centralized laboratories and workshops at secondary school levels. In a presentation to the Education Review Commission, the Executive Director, Vice Chancellor Association, Professor Eriabu Rujugo, asserts that the model drives efficiency in training and solves the problems of lack of equipment that has been a challenge.
We're looking at the international stories. The Ukraine war began to visibly affect international relationships in the 52nd week of the conflict, as Washington declared Russian President Vladimir Putin a failure. Moscow revived nuclear threats, and China assumed a more assertive posture towards the United States. Now, a year after Russian troops poured into Ukraine's eastern Donbas region, a prelude to Russia's full-blown invasion of Ukraine, U.S. President Joe Biden made a surprise visit to Kiev and declared that the Russian president had failed. Mexico's President Andrés Manuel López Obrador has defended a controversial bill that would cut the budget of the country's electoral agency and weaken oversight of campaign spending. López Obrador said he expects court challenges to the bill like those previously filed against many of his administration's reforms. But he added that the legislation would survive them because none of it was outside the law. The president, who has long criticized the agency for costing taxpayers too much and paying high salaries, said he will sign the new bill into law, even though electoral authorities say it could weaken democracy in Mexico. The bill was approved late on Wednesday by Mexico's Senate in a 72-50 vote.
Candidate from Nigeria's opposition Labour Party has been killed by unknown gunmen in southeastern Enugu state ahead of the country's national election, according to police and party officials. Oyibo Chukwuku was killed on Wednesday night after being ambushed as he was traveling back from a campaign event, according to Chiwumba Ngu, the Labour Party chairperson from Enugu South local government area. It is a devastating development for us. We are suspecting political assassination because he was favored to win the election, Ngu said. Police confirmed the killing, which came hours after the parties and presidential candidates signed a pledge to support a peaceful electoral process ahead of Saturday's general election. A spokesperson from the Independent National Election Commission in Enugu said that it had the power under electoral laws to suspend a poll in the event of a candidate's death and set a new date within 14 days. However, he said processes had to be followed and no decision had been made yet in this case. And in climate news, climate change might turn out to be worse than previously believed, thanks to the 27 amplifying feedback loops that accelerate global warming. Scientists have warned that this could lead to tragic global warming that goes beyond anything humans can control. Now, researchers from the Oregon State University said that some of the feedback loops may not be accounted for in current climate modeling. One example of an amplifying feedback loop is warming in the Arctic Ocean and also leading to melting sea ice that results in further warming because of seawater absorbing rather than reflecting solar radiation. The researchers identified dozens of loops where a climate-caused alternation can trigger a process that causes even more warming.
Press review this morning, more stories coming in from the New Vision. Schools hike senior 5 cutoff points and top government schools directed to admit more learners. This should be very interesting. Museveni tips Acholi on development and wealth. Government confirms 1,300 teachers, and you will find the lists inside the New Vision this morning. And in the by-election, Okabe's son wins Serere. And UN Security Council resolution on the Democratic Republic of Congo. And looking at who is Uganda's music gods, greatest of all time. That's an answer I would definitely take so much interest in this morning.
Those schools raise bar on S5 entry, of course, which schools have done that? All in the papers now. Ministers push back on Anne Sheet's claims, and Omoding beats NRM, FDC, ANT, and Insedede by election. Of course, also, are all these song covers necessary? It's a question for probably all of us to answer. There's a cover, and why all these songs covers? They'll give you a couple of. They give you a picture of Juliana here. I see Shiba. I think Shiba did a song with King Sa called Mpeta, also did Samo Wange. Irene Tale, who has done quite a number of them. Eddie Kenzo just did Born in Africa. Well, I remember also the redo of some of those songs of, was it Fidel Taya still?
I could always go for that man's song.
Yes, Eddie Wamala. I think it was a joint album. We saw Chameleon, Bobby Wine, Ronald Mayinja. Juliana did one of the best ones. That was Diana.
Well, there is one of our artists, one of the greatest artists we've had for a while here in Uganda, who is still alive, and she said, if she hears anybody redoing her songs, whether she's still alive or dead, she's going to sue them.
Who's that?
I will share that story later. It's Good Morning Uganda Friday special. Quite lots of amazing performances that we have also planned for you. And definitely we are looking to see how we can get into the weekend on a more exciting note. We're going for a break. When we get back, there is a lot for us to talk.
Live from UBC Studios in Kampala. This is Good Morning Uganda.
Pick of the day on UBC.
If I'm looking at issues of taxation and all that, I will definitely run for the Kateshumbas. Okay? Okay. If I look at, if I'm looking at issues of investments and what, I would definitely run. I would definitely run for Dr. Emure Kugonza and Honorable Omara. Okay. If I'm looking at issues of the law, I will run for our very, very own people. I have the Oboso Bosses, I have the Katuntus, I have the Robin Arwakojos. So everyone is talented in one way or another.
Did you mention Katuntu?
Okay. Yes.
Is he yours?
Yes, he is.
Yours as in NRM?
He is.
Was brought to you by
Gatawo with MTN Momo Advance. Momo Advance tops up your Momo to complete your transactions. Dial *165*5*3# to apply. MTN Momo Advance is always available when you need it.
From Airtel. Buy or gift. Buy or gift.
Get freaky too! Dial *100*10# to load a Freaky Friday bundle for you to enjoy the best offers on voice and data.
To buy a bundle for friends and family, dial *100*10#. Freaky Friday with Airtel. Buy or gift a bundle today. Dial *100*10# to get started. Airtel, the smartphone network.
One-on-one with Michael Jordan Lukomwa.
A weekly face-to-face conversation focusing on accountability, inspiration, information, and sensitization of the public from the various sources, such as inspirational profiles.
Having a disability is not inability.
Professional guidance.
There is no special antiretroviral therapy that is given specifically for discordant couples.
And of course, politics.
Don't you see anywhere that you would give a credit in the fight against COVID?
My role as the owner of the country is not to, be preoccupied by giving credit to my servant.
We have said that if we are to talk to General Museveni, there must be certain conditions in place.
Is it true that you paid 5 million shillings to MPs that voted for Anita Monga and Tayebo?
That is laughable.
why would we pay when we have nominated them as SEC?
Every party has been represented in Uganda's parliament for 10 years. We only by one MP, you yourself and my daughter, Susan.
Every Friday 9 p.m. it's One-on-One with Michael Jordan Lukomwa on UBC TV, inspiring Uganda.
We bring you a fresh, well-researched program to help you identify opportunities for investment, job creation, growing your entrepreneurial skills, wealth creation, and social transformation.
We have a product that is ready for schools, supermarkets.
Create wealth, transform livelihoods. Every week, we showcase opportunities for creating new products and services.
I now harvest a lot of cocoa. When I harvest it, I sell. After selling, I put money in my project. I have 2 projects. One is for construction of my house. 2 is for educating my children.
Excellence in innovation, the passion and drive to succeed, and the right mindset to grow your business. Create wealth, transform livelihoods. Brought to you by Operation Wealth Creation.
I am the quest, giver of life, Alpha without Omega. I am Africa.
Hail to Uganda, the Pearl of Africa, a land with the world's most beautiful, captivating features. Hills, mountains and valleys, the enigmatic animal species in the wild. A land where Africa is condensed into one small country with authentic endowment of nature and perfect safari. Uganda, the Pearl of Africa, is without the crowds with abundant primates, wildlife and stunning scenery. Uganda, the Pearl of Africa, takes you beyond the guidebooks, the known features, and gives you the insights unmatched. Keep it UBC TV, where we inspire Uganda with authentic beauty and nature of our motherland. Uganda, the Pearl of Africa. Discover the fountain.
This is Chilling. Don't miss a brand new season of Chilling on UBC TV.
Certainly it would have made his famous father proud. And the 18-year-old Gambian left foot on the left foot. Oh! Oh my God! The penalty area. That is sensational. The Tunisia defence have been caught out, caught cold. It's a brilliant little.
It's Freaky Friday from Airtel. Buy or gift. Buy or gift.
Get freaky too! Oh, dial *100 *10 hash to load a Freaky Friday bundle for you to enjoy the best offers on voice and data.
To buy a bundle for friends and family, dial *100 *10 hash. Freaky Friday with Airtel. Buy or gift a bundle today. Dial *100 *10 hash to get started. Airtel, the smartphone network.
When you talk about our motherland Uganda, the pearl of Africa, you cannot fail to smile because of the smile that fills the faces of the citizens. Our nice good weather and nature that sustains us all, that enables us all to continue each in our own way because we are all different even according to each individual's work. But what joins us to become one person is the sweetness from the flavored drink Alleluia Jingati drink and Alleluia Tamarind drink. The flavor that quenches your thirst while at the same time treating and healing your body because it is 100% natural. Enjoy the drink that has got the tamarind juice in it. Made by Alleluia Reflexology, Healthy Solutions and Nutritional Research Center Limited. Get yourself a bottle of Alleluia from all shops around.
This is Good Morning Uganda.
Well, some beautiful music in the background here, but of course I want to welcome you back to Good Morning Uganda Friday edition. Now, what makes it a special edition is the fusion we do bring to you that has a bit of music and some nice melodies. Well, of course, today to do that with us is some big name that you probably should know. I'm guessing it must be your household name. Most of the people who come from the western part of Uganda. That is Bruce Dixon.
Yeah.
How are you, Chief?
I'm doing good.
It's good to have you.
I'm already in the
I can
vibe.
see you dancing today. Okay. Well, we can also wait to have your performance and also to know about you, probably much about you and your music later. And I guess I'll let you guys get into the music.
Okay. Good morning, Uganda. You know what? It is an amazing day and it is a very cold morning, but we just gotta warm you up because you have to go to work when you're ready to start a day. Bruce Dixon, my name, and Ibrahim Solo is a big name there. Na 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 na. Hey, oh. Oh, Potulo, oh, Potulo, oh, Potulo, oh, Potulo. Zavagadonda kumpe funotulo Zavagadonda kumpe zevunotulo Zavagadonda kumpe funotulo Uganda Zavagadonda kumpe funotulo Oi, Potulo, oi, Potulo, sing it me, Ibra.
Emunyezi nyanza muengula, ibirozo. Iringita abagalana anesimisa wandekao nofuno mulala oyi botulo oyi botulo oyi
Let's cut it down a little bit. So, do we have Maurice Kiria fans watching right now? If you're watching UBC right now and you're a Maurice Kiria personnel, please enjoy the show. So we're gonna switch it a little bit and go to the other guy. We call him Kenneth Mugavi. Bye guy, let's go. Yeah. Those are the kings of soul music, by the way. If you love soul music, Afro soul, these are the guys who represent us in Uganda here, and we do it. Yeah. Nsaza kaviri nze n'ennyumba sitera kugolola ngoloddeko mpagize n'emiwula kyaffe bambiwulyeka engeregeze nazinabyeko leero ebijanjalo ku mannyo nabijeeko zena kwesunga tanga tukyali amapeera n'enkya taatawo kati nze nkwetegekedde ennaku zena Nachi, please be my lover. Hey. Nachi, whoa, please be my lover. Hey, Gwega iride, yeah. Gwega iride. Nazindiko mubaka nakuntwalako olowava obungi nakunkwanako nasomba kikomando ngonkuba migongo sijja kwerabira olwaluli nakunyonyogera nonywekera ebisigadde mwali mu luyi engolo ensambagere ne taatawo nakwesunga tanga tukyali amapeera n'enkya maamawo kati nze nkwetegekedde ennaku ze n'akakato nawe naaki nawe amibi mala yeah. Nachi, whoa, please be my lover. Hey, Gwega iride. Yeah. Gwega iride. Yeah. Gwega iride. I guess that's it. You know what? I don't know. I wanna do a freestyle.
This is Good Morning Uganda.
It's Freaky Friday from Airtel. Buy or gift. Buy or give.
Get freaky too! Dial star 100 star 10 hash to load a Freaky Friday bundle for you to enjoy the best offers on voice and data.
To buy a bundle for friends and family, dial star 100 star 10 hash. Freaky Friday with Airtel. Buy or gift a bundle today. Dial star 100 star 10 hash to get started. Airtel, the smartphone network.
When you talk about our motherland Uganda, the pearl of Africa, you cannot fail to smile because of the smile that fills the faces of the citizens. Our nice good weather and nature that sustains us all, that enables us all to continue each in their own way because we are all different even according to each individual's work. But what joins us to become one person is the sweetness from the flavored drink Alleluia Jingati drink and Alleluia Tamarind drink. The flavor that quenches your thirst while at the same time treating and healing your body because it is 100% natural. Enjoy the drink that has got the tamarind juice in it. Made by Alleluia Reflexology, Healthy Solutions and Nutritional Research Center Limited. Get yourself a bottle of Alleluia from all shops around.
chilling. Don't miss a brand new season of Chilling on UBC TV.
Certainly it would have made his famous father proud. And the 18-year-old Gambian left foot on the left foot. Oh! Oh my God! It's the penalty area. That is sensational. The Tunisia defence have been caught out, caught cold. It's a brilliant little.
Nature of our motherland. Uganda, the pearl of Africa. Discover the fountain.
This is Good Morning Uganda.
Welcome back from that performance from Bruce Dixon. It was such a beautiful one. Very, very amazing and wonderful voices I could hear in there. Well, it's Good Morning Uganda Friday special. My name is Philomena Mastiko, and it is the 24th of February 2023, trying to conclude the week. Well, this time round on this discussion, very exciting. I'm very happy about what we're going to talk about, because I know at one point in time you have been through it as an adult right now, and there are people who intend to go through this stage of growth in life. When it comes to moving out as a child, when is the right time? How do you know that you're ready to move out of your parents' home? And for the parents, by the way, when do you think your child should be able to move out of the home to go and start up an independent life? Well, we are going to be focusing on that, and I'm very excited to hear very many people's experiences. If I am going to start with my own experience, my oh my, I shouldn't even go there, but quite a very rocky start. But this morning, Robert is joining me. I do have Mollen and Felix. We'll be looking at all of this in detail. And by the way, you can be part of the discussion. Get onto our socials, #UBCGMU. And of course, our WhatsApp platform is also open for your use, 0709-602-592. Let us know how your experience was and what you think about this topic of discussion this morning. Definitely, I'll be sharing it with the rest of our Good Morning Uganda family. Robert, you're a parent. At one point, I am also very sure that you did have to move out of your parents' home. Maybe we just need to start from there. How was your experience when you are getting in this stage of life? Was it an easy experience for you? Was it complicated? Or you had mixed feelings about it? You don't know where you are falling, but you are surviving.
First, I must say it depends. Situations differ as to why and when someone should leave their parents' home. For example, for the men, I must say, and women, I'm not looking at it in terms of saying maybe one gender is, I want to open a can of worms, but...
When Robert says that, just know he's actually going to open. I'm just saying.
Old folks behave. So what usually happens is, first I want to look at the element, I'll begin with the element of culture.
Yes.
That, for example, for a man, you must get out of your father's home as soon as you're able, or as soon as you get to that age of manhood. For us here in Uganda, it is a shame for someone, say, to be 40 years and you're still staying with your parents and your man. It is a shame because you're expected to go and prepare that home where a woman is going to come. You get it?
Yes.
My experience living home wasn't good, I must say. My mother felt I had no reason why I should leave home. And she told me openly, why are you leaving home? If you don't want to stay in the big house, well, you can stay in the boys' quarters. If you don't want to stay in the boys' quarters,
just going to put you.
We have very good rentals just next after.
Is that why parents put boys' quarters on their houses? I mean,
so she was like, still good.
Really?
Boys' quarters, yes. She told me, well, you can go to the boys' quarters and be there, you know. They're good. He asked me, give me reasons why you want to leave home. And I remember the words she said, kujja kongo yagala genda kwononekera eyo. Tewali nsonga ekujja waka. I had finished campus, I had gotten a job. But she even said, Jagala ove wano ng'ogenda kuwasa. I was like, ma'am. She said, no, when we know you're leaving home, yeah, your introduction, so you're going to start a family. But now, why are you leaving home? Now, for me, I had my comrades, my age mates at that time. Many had left home. They had begun independent life. And you know, boy talk, by then, someone can even simply insult you. Take away. So I felt as a young man, I had to leave home and start my life. In my peers, I was no longer fitting. You know? You still stay at your parents' home? Oh, no. So my story wasn't that good. And actually, I even bought things to move in the other house and I had to keep them at a friend's place. So they had gone someday somewhere.
You escaped.
I didn't expect my things. And the next I was, Mommy is the one. She's like, what? I said, yes, I'm in this place. And I want to tell you the embarrassment I got of my lifetime. She told me, direct us, where do you stay? I mean, where have you got any home? So I did it. I just thought I'm staying in such a place. Guess what? 6 a.m. And these two people had arrived to see where I'm staying. How, like, I had to recognize my first 1 year. Actually, I didn't get the independence I wanted. Because in case one was coming from work, they would stop by any time. In case someone was going to town, they would come by. I felt like, oh, I go to Masaka. But anyway, that was what it was until...
Your parents are watching this.
Until...
They didn't know how you felt then.
Well, in case they would come from an overnight. I don't know. You just... And other tenants would ask, that guy's parents have come. We've come to pray for you, then we go to Vamukusaba. So I left home, but their hands were so grip and tight on me that for many young boys, the opportunities they enjoy soon after leaving home, for me I couldn't, because any time someone would pass by and they knock, and they would not only enter at that door, they would knock and enter as if they're searching, maybe if there's somebody else. I don't know what to say. But
yes,
that was my experience, because you asked for it briefly. But for me, I feel that there's a stage in life where someone must start their journey, but that goes with ability and capacity. So, if you have, for any young man, I'll start with the men, for any young man, that time when you know that in a very short period you're going to be having a partner, you must prepare. So it is that time you leave home, as long as you have the financial muscle to do that, you have blessings, I want to emphasize, and you talk about it with your parents if they're okay with it, because I've seen a number of parents that are not okay with it. If they are not, you explain why for you you've chosen to leave. But for the ladies, and please don't misquote me, because I said I want to begin on a culture-wise. For the men, because you have to leave and go and prepare. A woman, you don't begin with 0. Because just imagine a man coming to you, proposing, I want, and at the end of the day, you know, it would look a bit queer, isn't it? So but for the women, culture, in our culture, I'll talk about Buganda where I've stayed. It used to be an abomination, but now times have changed. For a young lady not to stay at their parents' place, she would leave when she's going into marriage. She would go and work and come back home. Go and work and come back home. So for the ladies, you should only leave home in the cultural element when you're going to start life with somebody else. However, so much water has gone under the bridge that now I may be born in Kabale, I have to work in Kampala. Automatically, I have to find my home, my place to commute to work. So that is where a bit so for me, a woman, my daughter, I'll be happy if she left home when she's going into, because sometimes things can go and you end up, you know, even some men fear these young girls, they find she's already having her own home, she's having her own life, and says, hey, this one knows how to open for herself, close up.
Anyway,
it may be a disadvantage to
continuing with this conversation, I'm going to make reference again to some of the statements you made, Robert. In most cases, I've seen parents are never really very comfortable having their children move out. And what I would really love to know, maybe from Mollen and Felix, is there a moment when you actually feel you feel very comfortable for your child to move out? Does that moment ever come? Because because usually,
why do you put me in the same basket?
Why am I asking? Why am I asking this? Because parents never feel like all the reasons you give them are satisfactory enough. Okay, they feel like that's not a reason enough for you to move out of this home. Why do you choose? Yes, why are you leaving? So I just really love to know, are there things, are there pointers you have to look at, and you consider that, okay, yes, maybe I am ready, she can move out, he can move out, they're ready to meet their bills, because you will even have a job and you still tell your parent, listen, I have a job, I can support myself on some of these things, the basic, the key needs. But the parent will tell you, no, it's not a given that this is enough money. Who is chasing you? So it takes a lot for you to convince a parent in letting you move out. Is there that point where a parent should feel comfortable enough? Of course, apart from when you're getting married or you're marrying, because now that's a whole different thing together.
Cry on marriage when the daughters are
do you want me to start or what?
Felix, I want you to start.
You know, that's lethal for Mollen, but anyway.
I'll take it for today.
Okay.
I'll take it.
But here's the thing about this whole, and I was listening to Bob here. And the parents you're talking about, I don't know where they are. Clearly, they're not the parents we have been. If you want to know, I left home after S6. And I've never gotten back up till today. No, honestly, like, and the only thing, no one even asked those funny questions that, yeah.
No one?
Felix, I'm telling you, I told my dad I've gotten some gig in Entebbe. The only thing the guy did was like, okay, you sure you want to do this? I'm like, yeah. Because I got a job in some mattress factory somewhere along Garuga Road. So, and I was willing to start my hustle. Because at that point, there was a bit of challenges, I think, financially at home. And I'm like, looking at all these guys struggling with everyone else I had, I'm like, tell you what. So God helped me, I got a job somewhere in Entebbe through my auntie, one of my aunties, Auntie Florence, and the guy just told me, there's a bed there, there's a mattress. Yeah. I just used the company car that I think I was going to work with. One time we were dropping mattresses. I'm like, guys, we told Chimaka and that's how life started for me. And from there up till today, I've never. That's why, and I accept and I believe the fact that everything can be different. Like Robert said, they kept on saying, visiting. The only time I think my dad came where I was staying after about a year and a half or so. And my mom never came at all. But of course, I was in touch with them. They knew how I was doing. Yeah. And even when I was supposed to go to campus, because I had got some money through work, I had to pay for my first, I think, 2 or 3 years. One to start somewhere like that. And from that, my experience, I learned that the exposure I got in this life that I started on my own early enough, I've ridden on that up till today. The worst thing, if you ask, if I were from myself, if there's any boy or youth out there who fails to understand when they should start on their journey for struggling for life, if you fail to get the right point at which you should break through, like you should accept your back to start carrying some load, that's the point where you miss the successes of life. Let me tell you, and I'm not saying I'm a successful person. Don't get it twisted. Well, that is also debatable. But here's the thing: you must don't miss that point where your back should start carrying some weight, because it's part of the exposure you need to become the best of you. Trust me. And all this cuts across in terms of financial management, financial situational awareness, emotional intelligence, living together with people. You can imagine, you talked about someone is 40 years old and you're still sharing a bathroom with your mother.
40 years.
Yogamba, mami yangu anjagala kufuka. It's like, hey, mami is showering. I want to shoot, but mami is showering. What jazz is that?
Yeah.
Mami mwanterekeddeyo ku mmere. Ono mukazi wo. Like which other lunatic is that? Like, which other better lunatic can you have than such a person? A person should be the one in Butavika, because that's the greatest level of idiocy. And do you know how these things turn out? Before you know, you can imagine at 40, you're fighting with your father in the corridors of his house.
And there are 40-year-old men who are still staying. Unless they're really...
You'll be surprised. I know even over 40 is cartoon. I'm saying the people who are even... Okay, if you think 40 is queer, let me talk about 30s and tell you why it's also weird that you're 30 years old and you're still struggling for a bathroom with your mother. Isn't that weird? Well, the one who wakes up first?
It's disturbing.
And do you know what happens? Because when we live in the same space, there's going to be conflict.
Of course, I mean, conflict is bound to happen.
And
if you're more than two people in any space.
Let me use Robert. Don't take it offense. Imagine Robert having an argument with the mother today on the dining about the quantity of meat he got. Like, and those things seem laughable, but that's the beginning of someone, like, that's when you lose yourself. Leaving home, people look at it as a punishment, and I understand the side of parents. Sometimes, like the Baganda say, you need to not to soothe the wound if you want it to heal. And what's more for men, every boy out there needs, we are created to carry weight on our back. There is no pretense about that. There is no pretense. Kids in Kampala start, not even Kampala, anywhere in the world, they start working as early as the age of 9. Let me tell you, I don't want to say this about myself, but I hope it's not taken in bad faith. When I was in P3, P4, I remember Mother's Day. I started doing business when I was in about P3, P4.
What business were you doing?
I was selling water and juice on Mother's Day, and when Nachivu was still there, we used to go and sell water with their matches, Vida, what in Nachivu. And I used to be loaded as a kid, and that's how. I think in S4 I had a video library. When those Nigerian movies were on hype, or Osimani, Noah Ramsey, Noah what, like, and Genevieve Najis, my Peter,
wow.
Like,
yeah, that's actually commendable.
Like, that's the thing. Yeah. By S4 I had someone in Lunguja there. If you don't expose yourself to earning, these kids will be so dormant. These are the kind of men you find, and I'm telling you, now you. Poor Mollen here. She started her hustle early, and then you fall on a log of a man who cannot earn. They don't know the use of waking up early. The only thing they can do is expect you to probably, when you come back, have sex. Yeah. They just, and you know, that's the generation we are losing. You can't count on that kind of husband to support a family. Have you heard of such people who think that every time, people still pick food from their mothers and fathers' homes?
Like they partially moved out. They still go for groceries, they still go for some other, you know, basic
you know,
mommy,
to take out, like, it's supposed to take food home, not the reverse.
I mean,
and that's how it starts. I know of people who have made it a policy in their homes that the best I can do for you, and I subscribe to that, the best I can do for my child, and I've told all of them, the best I can do for you is give you a basic that will lead you to survive. You can't count on me. There's this nonsense people say, what the hell is that? And that's how you say kids.
You don't subscribe to that. To
what? Like kids, you give them the basic. I know what I'm supposed to do for the kids. Take them to school, help them, support them. And that's my role. But you can't be in your home and I can chip in once in a while. Everyone needs some support at some point. That's a reality of life. But you can't expect to be. Let me tell you the worst scenario. You believe in Uganda. People marry and they take their wives in their father's homes. The daddy and mommy, there's something called boys' quarter. And you and your family also staying in the boys' quarter. Like, what was his son? Is this our mchala? Is in this, like, you've seen those things where people stay with their wives.
There's some cultures that do that type of communal living where you find the whole extended family
Uganda,
actually stays together.
Which culture is that in Uganda?
There are people,
stand to be
who
corrected.
do that.
Those are people, but that's why it starts.
And there shouldn't be anything wrong with that. If
Excuse me? If you want your husband to marry you and take you
I am not saying that is what I want, but for
father-in-law,
I mean, if a certain culture subscribes to that, there shouldn't be anything wrong with that. But if it's not what you believe in as a culture, then again, it is going to expose you to a lot of criticism. It's going to expose you to a lot, just like what you're talking about right now.
Let me just say this lastly, because clearly I know Mollen will have to come in, but you know the beginning of how we fail, and majorly as men, is because people want to, mostly parents want to make us feel like we are loved. You know, love is good, but it has there's no place where they say that like they're paying salary for you. You must.
There is no word for it.
There's no. But I have seen children kill their parents. And that's how love is. Because you didn't give this kid a chance to go and look for life. This kid grew up, and this thing of telling kids, that's nonsense. You can't have two cocks in one. Now kids are stuck on that. Someone says, me, I'll be here. They're giving birth, they're bringing all their kids. Imagine, Philomena, your mother and father raised you. Through whatever they went through. Now you, Philomena, you go, you meet your Robert here. You start taking your kids to your... The woman can hardly walk. She can hardly support herself. You're also another muzukuru in a way because you're dumb. Like, leave home. You're done with S6, you're done with your degree. Get out and start a life. The start is always hard. That's a matter of fact. The problem with most of us here, and yesterday I was talking to someone, and I was telling them, do you know that people who roast chicken in this town earn more than most of the bank tellers? But because of perception, everyone thinks that that's a dirty job. A bank teller earns about 700, 800. Do you know, guy buys a cocoa about 12,000, and it has about 8 pieces. Each piece is about 10,000. Literally, someone is earning 40,000 minimum of every 12,000. In a month, you're there, ozungirambu uniform bank every day. And at the end of the year, you can't even live life. I think we need to change our mindset, mostly as parents, and also we need to be intentional as children. For me, I think leaving home, the earlier you leave home, the better. But be very intentional. Don't leave home because you want to also prove a point. You'll be surprised you'll keep on coming back home.
Felix's strategy will work out for some people, and for some people it may fail, and you'll come back with your tail in between your legs. There is also
the good thing you have a place to come back. I used to count on that also.
Yes, but Mollen, maybe, of course, you'll be responding to that, but also I would just love to know from you, to what extent should parents interfere or intervene in terms of supporting, especially when the child has moved out? Because there are children here, or girls and boys in Kampala, they've moved out of their home, but I can guarantee you that their parents pay their rent, all right? Oh yes, trust me. They pay their rent.
You'll be surprised.
And they feed them, they buy their food, they meet their you know,
How old
transportation.
are we talking about? This kid like
This child is probably 27, 28, and honestly, everything is still, all the bills are still being met by the parents, despite the fact that they are staying outside of their home. So
I guess
my
it's a
question
blessing.
is, to what extent should parents really intervene in with their support and everything? Because I feel if you're doing that, that child may as well stay home, because now, what's that?
Well, you people, I really want to get on a note of the reality of African parents, and I think a lot of us might subscribe to that. Now, the first thing, I listened to what Robert was
and by the way,
saying.
this person has a job, just to put it out there.
Oh.
Yes.
Can you imagine something like that? And
Spoiling
earlier,
the child.
I'll start off on what Robert was describing, his experience moving out. I feel like he was more like describing this whole rich kid character.
Wow.
Yeah, and no offense, Robert. No offense, Robert. But to see a parent who is going to sit down and be like, please, move into our boys' quarters. They even gave him an offer to move into the rentals. Which African parent, when they're using their rentals to collect money, wants you to just move into their
So I want to disagree
there's
with you
a
on
certain
that.
category, which is why I said he's describing a certain category.
Yes.
But for some of us, maybe you have not been privileged to that. Your parent will not want you to move into their rentals. They're actually using that to gain their money. The moment you say, I'm moving out, man, that is it. You're off their property. And I can describe that as probably my experience. Me, as a lady, it's probably surprising, but as soon as I got done with my S6, I was out there looking for a job. And I remember getting part-time teaching in some two schools, secondary schools, that were far from home. At one point, I actually wanted to move out. But my brother looked at me and he's like, Mollen, do you know what you're talking about? Because in my mind, I was thinking, if I move closer to these schools, I'll save transport. I'll have a lot of money saved up by the time I go to campus. And it seemed like a good idea for me, but he was just 18. He came in and said, no, stay home, at least I will support with the transport. If you're worried about your transport. And I think in his mind, he just wanted to protect me. And I was like, okay, fine. I stayed home. But that wasn't enough, because I even remember getting my first job that was a little bit paying because there were financial issues before I went to campus. So the whole experience of when you're moving out, yes, your parents have to come in and probably also advise you on what you could be looking at, because most of us grew up in an environment where it's school, then you feel like you'll get a job, and to the girls, unfortunately, some cultures have put it across that after that you have to get married. So it's like three things: school, work, marriage. And they don't clearly give you a manual on how to live your life within all those stages they are giving you. So some of the things you have to figure out yourself. But again, as parents, you have a very huge role right there, especially to a girl child, because we know that when it gets hard for them out there, even Robert did give an example, someone is probably their home is in Kampala, they've gotten a job in Kampala, at that point they have to move. But it's challenging. It's a new environment. You're just getting there. And this is how we have ended up with you see campuses, let me use that, when they quote them having gone to sugar daddies because of financial challenges. Sometimes most of these girls are here, their homes are very far, they couldn't stay with anyone around, the home has financial challenges, and they're unable to cope with the standards they have put for themselves. partly it's on them, but also parents. You can't stop supporting someone when they have moved out. Your support should stop also if you realize that they are not, they don't need it anymore. But as long as they still need your support, give it. And that is what Philomena, you were saying of someone you know who already has, who already has, their parents are paying rent for them. So the extent should be on, can they afford that rent? First of all, yes, they have a job, but which job do they have? Maybe the job actually pays them $400 a month, and this is inclusive of their transport, their food, and their rent. Now, do you want your child, yes, you're supporting them to take the first job, have that experience, and know that they can move away from home, but this child might sleep hungry. That is why you still have to be involved, talk to them, know how they are doing. But also, there are parents who babysit kids. Babysit their boys and girls even when they move out. They know for sure that you have a highly paying job, but they are constantly coming to you. They are constantly asking, are you okay? Can we come in here and there? It's like they have, they pass around. Okay, the prayers, they want to pray for you. Really? Prayers are welcome. The prayers are welcome.
She forgot the point of prayer. So
well, the prayers, we need them. We need them actually. But please,
some of us are surviving on those.
Yeah, most of us are surviving
on the parents' prayers. Yes.
Yeah, but also one thing I'll agree with what Felix was talking about. The moment as a person, as an adult, 18 and beyond is considered you being an adult. You've gotten a job. Yes, even when you have the liberty to stay at your home, your parents are okay with you staying there and still committing there and go to your workplace. Sometimes you need that extra push for you to realize that you actually need to get more aggressive in life. And that step, you cannot take it home. The moment you move out of home, the responsibilities come, and earlier we were talking about the bills that come in right, left and center. You have bills around. But it's because of those bills that you're pushed to do more.
Yeah, sure.
Now, if you didn't have opportunities to actually get some money, you wouldn't be...
you'd be in a comfort zone.
You've been in a comfort zone, yes. So the only way to get out of that comfort zone is actually get out of it and get more aggressive. Because guess what? I don't know any successful people that have had to be called billionaires or whatever, millionaires, whatever, that are just seated at home and they're like, no, this is enough. Let me sit. They are also still aggressive, looking for more. So the aggressiveness can only start when you actually have bills waiting on you, when you have visions of what you want. Now, I've not heard of a scenario where someone is just moving out of their father's home into their home.
Oh, you haven't?
No, like most, anyway, I haven't seen it around me, maybe.
Of course, it's very rare. That's
yeah, it's very rare for someone to just sit at their parents' home and they're building their home and they're doing all these businesses. Most of that starts when you've moved out of your home, you're somewhere, you're renting, you now have to, move for yourself. You're making construction, you're doing these businesses. And by the way, most of those first ventures fail at a certain point. The first ventures fail. I've personally had my fair share of failing in businesses. You get a startup, and usually you're very excited. I remember being very excited about my first business. When I put it across, I had to call almost everyone in my home. Called my mom, guess what? I've started up this. My brother, I called him, he was very excited. And just a few months later, I didn't know how to call back and tell them, things are not going well. You see, now the landlord is asking for rent, the business is not moving, I don't have... I'd put
broken even.
Yeah, I'd put in all my savings. I felt like everyone was very proud of me. Now, after failing, what do you do? Because now, at that point, I didn't know whether to now ask if there is anyone who could come in. I had to close, actually. I had to close. And it happens to a lot of people when you're giving a startup.
If what you're selling is edible, you just eat it.
Yeah, but you see, what
did you do to the library? Because it wasn't.
No, the library, actually, for me, the library is far.
Yeah.
The library, I think I sold it. I got someone, I lied the guy, this thing has been making this work. Because it was really far. I used to walk, guy.
Man, it can get really challenging.
So
and for me, that's when I learned that, okay, there is a time when you actually fail somewhere and you need a safe space. So
Yeah, but-
some of the children, by the way, moving out, or I don't want to say children, it seems like they're young. When you move out,
Adults.
yeah,
Young
you're adults.
adults.
Yeah,
They're young
actually
adults.
When you move out,
They're young
Don't get it
adults.
twisted.
we have to get a
There's nothing
point
like
in
young
where
adults.
we look at some of these adults.
You people.
Do you know that people leave home? Some leave home on a good note, and some leave on, I am moving out. I don't want anything to do with you, to their parents.
Yes.
That's
And
not a
when
sad
you
one.
reach there, and things do not turn out well, like some of us, it did happen, you must actually have a laid-back position.
Borrow the story
And-
of the
and
prodigal son.
You know,
in the
you know,
Bible.
let
you
me-
return. So at one point you have to you like, you know, have your feet together. I'm not going to
Things
step
can
on
be
the
tough.
street.
If you don't mind me just chipping in, let me tell you something that happened to me personally. I remember there's a time when I think the market was doing so bad in where I was working, that mattress stuff, and like we had no sales like for about 6-7 months, and of course that means you're not going to be paid the way you have been paid. I had to look for another job, and you don't want to know the job that I got.
No, we want to know.
You know, there's a
Yeah.
beach called Lake Resort. I don't know if you know it, Garuga. So I went there like, do you need people? Gaya ngamba, mimi go to now and go kupanga tent. Like, you know how to
Yeah.
put up tents and what. If you want to, if you ever have people doing these jobs, man, pay them. I got a taste of that. And then, of course, there you graduate to becoming a waiter, like, you know. And
Yeah.
but because of, like, things, the only option I had was either to go into that or go back home.
Yeah.
Now, the go back home was not an option.
You had enjoyed your independence.
It's not even about
Yeah,
enjoying.
enjoying.
I had chosen to start, and there was the one way, and trust me, at that point, whatever would come in,
you would do it.
And by the way, I think that's a story for most of us. Recently, I'll tell you a story. I have a little brother who also just completed campus. Now, when he completed, because we have all been, I think, raised in this whole, when you're done with school, you get a job, please find your way out. No one among my siblings who are around offered that he should stay around while he's doing the job he got. Everyone just kept quiet, and we were waiting to see now what is he going to do. No one offered this boy a place to stay because we understood that the job was actually giving him where to stay. And although it's not the best conditions, actually, if you look at it, it's just like, it's a place that, you know what, it's a startup. They also give you that place for you to stay there until, you know, you get back on your feet, you start earning, and then, but we were like, all okay with it. Because we know that once he stays in that home, in that room, he's going to realize that he needs better. And he will work hard. But the moment you're like, no, that place is not good for you, you can't stay there, please come and stay with me, you're babysitting them. And most of us were not babysitted that way, and probably that's how we have gotten to certain levels. Not the best, but we're still striving for more. So I think at one point we also have to realize that parents play a key role in us being successful, and babysitting is just, you know, it's out of the picture. Do not do that. And also, as young adults, like we have tagged them now, when you move out, my dear, the option of getting back is never a good one. I did that at one point. It didn't turn out well.
It doesn't look good on you. I've also done that, by the way. Yeah, it
because
happened.
all the things, all the steps that you're taking, you probably have a vision. By the time you start work, you're saving. There is something that you want. Well, the moment you get back home, you're just taking years away from achieving that, or a lot of months away from achieving
Have you heard of that thing
You'd
they
rather
say,
take on the next step.
Well, there's a lot of feedback coming in here. But Mollen, tell you what, I also moved out at one point, and
moved in again.
I moved in. Yeah. I think for like 2 months, I was like, no, this cannot be. I left this time.
Like,
and I was like, no, shame on me. And I left. This time I left with like, you know what?
Come
rain, come sunshine. I'm not going back to my
just even the
house
thought
like
of
this.
going back home.
In this context, there is no way I am going.
That's a nightmare.
Yes,
like,
so
you know, every time I thought
just
about
left.
going back home, nga nyongeramu amaanyi mu kutambuza emmere like
there is more effort you put in. It's it's such an ugly it's
a nightmare.
It's a nightmare to go back when you left. But you see, that's the importance of leaving home.
Someone else's home.
I mean,
because when you move out now, I need this, I need this, I need that.
Yes.
But home, I mean, what are you going to plan? Everything is
that's why it's very
they're
important.
going to judge you. There is also that feeling that as if you're going to be judged.
Of course you'll be judged.
You're going to be judged. And the parents may not show it to you, by the way. They may be kind to you. Like, at your
or maybe it's also even the pressure from probably other relatives or the neighbors. They're going, now he has failed.
But please,
it happens. So that's
a man
pressure
of 40 years.
You go ahead.
Anyway, I have feedback here.
Run away from him.
I have feedback here coming in from a couple of people. There is a gentleman saying, I am 30 years now. I left home at 2022. My father has structures. I have made some money that I would like to invest using those structures. Above all, I want to go and take care of my parents since they are aging. So I don't regret moving out at that age of 2022. And there is someone here saying the fact is that we need an upper hand to lift us into the future, because it may be a little bit hard for you to get on. But education is one, if not the only support you can offer your children, and the rest they can sort themselves. And there is someone here saying Felix needs SFC. Protection is a national treasure. And they're saying even Mollen as well, because the parents people are talking about probably apply to only girls. But this gentleman left home as well in senior 6 VAC to attend to a mobile money. And after that, he has never looked back, and he doesn't regret that decision. Well, I do have also another gentleman here saying, I'm a hustler looking for money 24/7, but I don't ever think about going back home. I have to continue that energy. So somebody says, good morning, one can leave home at the age of 35 because he or she can live on his own. 35 years. 35 years. This according to them, yeah. So it's interesting, but
things you can do between 20 and 35. Those are 15 years of your life that are sort of like, you see, staying with our parents and living home. Don't get it twisted. We loved our parents so much.
Very much.
Personally, I actually cried every time my siblings called me, because we used to have fun. Like, our home was so full of fun, lots of games. I missed all these things, but I was determined. Whether
anyway, we could go on and on and on.
Because our parents didn't want us there, or there was no space for us. There is space, but you also need, I think,
you get to a point where you need independence as a person. You need to start actually working.
And staying home is not going to help.
35? 35 is too late for you.
Anyway, this conversation could go on and on and on, but we have to look at the Daily Nation and the Citizen this Friday. At the
you're fighting for spoons, cups with your father.
Anyway, the big story in the Daily Nation: why Raila lost the AU job, and Odinga says he does not recognize a Ruto presidency. Quits or Anyway, this gentleman and the lady can't really seem to get over 35 years. Anyway, looking at more stories in the Daily Nation, Kenyans to get digital IDs in a year. Well, lucky for them. And the Kenya Revenue Authority boss Mburu and top officials exit in a shakeup. And looking at the food crisis, we have only 50,000 bags of maize in our stores. And public universities to raise fees and reduce staff. Probably something we need to look at here in Uganda as well. The Citizen: EU support to unlock 1.4 trillion Tanzanian shillings for small medium enterprises financing. Japan envoy reveals what he loves about Tanzania. And Rostam gets nod for 300 billion shillings cooking gas plant in Kenya. Well, indeed, things are really taking quite a lighter direction. We'll leave it at that, but we still have a lot of entertainment coming in for you. It's Good Morning Uganda Friday special here on UBC TV, where we live to inspire.
This is Good Morning Uganda.
Pick of the day on UBC.
If I'm looking at issues of taxation and all that, I will definitely run for the Kateshumbas. Okay? If I'm looking at issues of investments and what, I would definitely run. I would definitely run for Dr. Emure Kugonza and Honorable Omara. Okay. If I'm looking at issues of the law, I will run for our very, very own people. I have the Oboso Bosses, I have the Katuntus, I have the Robin Arwakojos. So everyone is talented in one way or another.
Did you mention Katuntu?
Okay. Yes.
Is he yours?
Yes, he is.
Yours as in NRM?
He is.
Was brought to you by Get Away with MTN Momo Advance. Momo Advance tops up your Momo to complete your transactions. Dial *165*5*3# to apply. MTN Momo Advance is always available when you need it.
Alpha without Omega. I am Africa.
Hail to Uganda, the Pearl of Africa, a land with the world's most beautiful, captivating features. Hills, mountains and valleys, the enigmatic animal species in the wild. Endowment of nature and perfect safari. Uganda, the Pearl of Africa, is without the crowds with abundant primates, wildlife and stunning scenery. Uganda, the Pearl of Africa, takes you beyond the guidebooks, the known features, and gives you the insights unmatched. Keep it UBC TV, where we inspire Uganda with authentic beauty and nature of our motherland. Uganda, the Pearl of Africa. Discover the fountain.
It's Freaky Friday from Airtel. Buy or gift. Buy or give.
Get freaky too! Dial *100*10# to load a Freaky Friday bundle for you to enjoy the best offers on voice and data.
To buy a bundle for friends and family, dial *100*10#. Freaky Friday with Airtel. Buy or gift a bundle today. Dial *100*10# to get started. Airtel, the smartphone network.
Certainly it would have made his famous father proud. And the 18-year-old Gambian left foot on the left foot. Oh my God! It's the penalty area. That is sensational. The Tunisia defence have been caught out, caught cold. It's a brilliant little.
is chilling. Don't miss a brand new season of Chilling on UBC TV.
One-on-one with Michael Jordan Lukomwa.
A weekly face-to-face conversation focusing on accountability, inspiration, information, and sensitization of the public from the various sources such as inspirational profiles.
Having a disability is not inability.
Professional guidance.
There is no special antiretroviral therapy that is given specifically for discordant couples.
And of course, politics.
Don't you see anywhere that you would give a credit in the fight against COVID?
My role as the owner of the country is not to, be preoccupied by giving credit to my servant.
We have said that if we are to talk to General Museveni, there must be certain conditions in place.
Is it true that you paid 5 million shillings to MPs that voted for Anita Monga and Tayebo?
That is laughable. Why would we pay when we have nominated them as SEC?
Every party has been represented in Uganda's parliament for 10 years.
9 p.m. It's One-on-One with Michael Jordan Lukomwa on UBC TV, Inspiring Uganda.
This is Good Morning Uganda.
Good morning, Uganda Friday special. We are still here to give you lots and lots of entertainment because, why not? It's a Friday and, well, the weekend is already in the corner. We're getting closer and closer as the hours go by. Speaking of entertainment, we did have quite some good entertainment that came through from the fast performers, of course, and that was Dixon. Well, now I do have another in the house. You are well acquainted with this one, Adore. We've had him here a couple of times, and tell you what, we don't get enough of you. And we're always excited to have you here every single Friday. And he's going to be giving us some more entertainment now before we proceed with the program.
Celebrity girlfriend, namakuchima laika, kuno mukwano kunyichanga hotikawa, oswiti maido kita, zikakananga tabe wange maifowa, namakuchima laika, kuno mukwano kunyichanga hotikawa, oswiti maido kita, zikakananga tabe wange maifowa. Interessante, no malo chikola my daddy. Akasera konanze ni kanoti mamo daddy. No mo fana nyibugala re. Ndikutemba njuu yona. Wasokatera wasema yona ibo. My lover. Oh, ndawa kuchima life. Kuno mkwano kunyochanga hotikava. Oswiti maido kita. Kakananga dawe wange my flower. Nabako chima laika. Oswiti maido kita.
And the next one is an original composition. So this is the song I'm going to be releasing in a couple of let me say weeks.
bulamu ngesiwa nyongo bamuyite kikuluma bayibusengeseza ntondo Stephen Nkuba Landiro taka this week is you don't wanna nah but regardless we both kuba ngobulamu wakuleka 1 2 boss nyumira sokola nyumira sokola boss nyumira sokola ebizibu birekengeka boss nyumira sokola nyumira sokola boss nyumira sokola ebizibu birekenge tinwalero sagala nonya abamanja sijasaso lero nesimu nyereka nansanga nkuba nguliko nkuba nguliko nansanga nkuba nguliko nkuba nguliko jayene biboze bya soda boss nyumira sokola nyumira sokola boss nyumira sokola ebizibu birekengeka.
No, today is not the day I'm releasing it. I just wanted to prepare it for you guys because I heard you guys talking about leaving home.
Yes, it's very tricky. It's very tricky. And when you talk about, turning your phone, put your phone into flight mode and just everybody that I owe money, should they talk to me on a Friday, right?
I know, right?
Yes. Well, there you go. We'll go for a break. When we get back, Mollen will be here to give you more on weather and climate. We still have some more entertainment coming in for you. Remember, it's Good Morning Uganda Friday special.
This is Good Morning Uganda.
I am the quest, giver of life, Alpha without Omega. I am Africa.
Hail to Uganda, the Pearl of Africa, a land with the world's most beautiful, captivating features. Hills, mountains and valleys, the enigmatic animal species in the wild. A land where Africa is condensed into one small country with authentic endowments of nature and perfect safari. Uganda, the Pearl of Africa, is without the crowds with abundant primates, wildlife and stunning scenery. Uganda, the Pearl of Africa, takes you beyond the guidebooks, the known features and gives you the insights unmatched. Keep it UBC TV, where we inspire Uganda with authentic beauty and nature of our motherland. Uganda, the Pearl of Africa. Discover the fountain.
From Airtel. Buy or gift. Buy or gift.
Get freaky too! Dial *100 *10 hash to load a Freaky Friday bundle for you to enjoy the best offers on voice and data.
Buy a bundle for friends and family. Dial *100 *10 hash. Freaky Friday with Airtel. Buy or gift a bundle today. Dial *100 *10 hash to get started. Airtel, the smartphone network.
Live from Now Avenue in UBC Studios. This is Good Morning Uganda.
Good morning, Uganda. It is a special Friday for us here, but this is why we also want to make sure that it is special for you. We're giving all the flavors. Right now, we want to take a look at the rainy situation and not just the rains, but also the weather conditions across the country. Yesterday was a little bit of a huge relief, I should say. We did have some rains come through, especially for areas around Lake Victoria. That was well needed due to the fact that we've had a lot of temperatures really up there, and that helped to keep temperatures a little bit down. But that wasn't everywhere. A lot of places within the country were still going on with drier conditions. Now, it looks like we also have a little bit of a repeat of that for this morning. Tapping in from our satellites, we're still looking at mostly a sunny morning, that is for parts of eastern Uganda. Same goes for areas within Mount Elgon Highlands. We're starting off quite sunny. We're also looking at much more of midwestern Uganda across Masindi, Hoima. We're also starting off with mostly sunny weather. Same goes for southwestern Uganda. We're looking at Kabale Highlands, Mbarara as well, starting off with mostly sunny conditions. We do have a few clouds that are starting to develop across northern Uganda. Now that is also a little bit of relief. We've had continuous high temperatures for the morning over the northern half of the country, but for this morning we're seeing a little bit of clouds building in. That will help to keep temperatures a little bit down. Also looking at quite a system starting to build up that is across the Lake Victoria Basin. That is likely to bring in a few rains across areas within the Lake Victoria Basin. Now that is also headed for the western side of Lake Victoria that takes in areas of Masaka. We could be looking at a few rains developing for you later as the day progresses. But also we want to take a look at a further view for what is expected from the models that we have right now predicting weather. We're looking at more of that coming in from the medium range forecast for Africa, showing us what we're expecting for today. Now it looks like actually most of the rains that are coming off the African continent right now towards the southern half of the continent. Now that is also partly due to the tropical cyclone that has been developing across the Madagascar side. Now that has already made landfall, and it is showing right there on some of these images also coming in from the models. Now immediately that makes landfall. It means that all the moisture that has now been diverted, that has now been flowing towards this low pressure center will a little bit divert towards other areas. So that is why we're seeing a pickup of wet weather conditions. Even for the rains that we saw yesterday, much more of that was attributed to the fact that tropical cyclone Freddy did make landfall across South Africa, and after that it means that much of the moisture is now being pulled back, especially a little bit upwards. So that means that you see rain starting to develop, especially benefiting the Tanzanian side, where we're seeing much more of the rainy conditions even predicted for today. But then again, unfortunately for us, the northern parts of Uganda, and you see also areas of Kenya, are still in the forecast for drier conditions. So the effects are not yet to that, but we also know that the cyclone is moving at a very slow rate, so the rains will not peak in so much as well. But the good news coming through for today is that those rains, even that are expected across the Lake Victoria Basin, will only be in the morning. Later on in the afternoon, we can't expect that there is going to be a clearing trend. We might be dealing with intervals of sunny and cloudy conditions, and that is entirely for much of the country, except for the islands within Lake Victoria that might still continue to have rainy conditions. Now, as you move further into your Saturday for the weekend, we then have more of the rainy conditions at least progressing for much of Lake Victoria Basin. That is where we expect that more rains will be developing, especially for the western side areas of Masaka, Rengwa, Zimbabwe. You can expect that there will be more rains for tomorrow. You also have a little bit of development for southwestern Uganda. You have Kabale Highlands, where we do expect that we will have a pickup of wet weather conditions for that area. Otherwise, the rest of the country will still be continuing with mostly dry and sunny weather. Now, as we head towards Sunday, we see again more rains developing for the southwestern parts of the country. That will now be extending towards areas of Rwenzori as well as southwestern Uganda, where we see the light blue colors right there. That is the one indicating rainy conditions. Otherwise, the clear colors and white colors there are indicating drier conditions. Now, that is Sunday, and we do expect that we will have more rains picking up. That is Monday. So while you relax over the weekend, be aware that you could be waking up to a rainy day on Monday, and that is where we have areas of the southern sector of the country that are now in the forecast for having more pickup in wet weather activities when it comes to Monday. We'll also be seeing rains developing for the Rwenzori area as well as Mount Elgon Highlands. Could be looking at areas like Mbale also having more rains developing for you out there. So yes, that will also indicate that the northern sector, the eastern part of the country, parts of central northwestern Uganda might continue with, again, drier and sunny weather. But we also know that the forecast has been issued out. That is the seasonal forecast, indicating that we're looking at a drier rainy season. So yes, we're looking at early signs of the onset for the March to May rainy season across Uganda. But we also have to consider that the forecast that has been given out is indicating that we might not perform in terms of rains that we've had normally for this season. It's going to be less rains, and we're yet to determine. The National Weather Center will come out with information on which areas will actually be having a little bit of more rains. And of course, right now, the information that is coming through, the advisories that are coming through from the National Weather Center and also from the regional center, is that farmers should be getting ready, should get their gardens ready, so that when the rains, the steady rains come through, you're able to plant. But it is still too soon to determine when that is. But later next week, as next week starts, we have been promised that they will come up with that forecast, and then we can pass on that information so that, you know, it helps, especially for those planning for their planting season. Now, talking about planning, also if you're looking for what to put across for this weekend or what to catch up for this weekend, a lot of events. One that actually Robert wanted me to give a forecast for, but I told him he will have to get a better consultation for that. You can also get some entertainment with movies, and we always recommend the best movies here. Now, if you're a fan of horror, adventure, but also something thrilling, you could be looking at one of these movies that actually scare you. I don't want to say to death. We're looking at the movie about ghosts, and that is streaming right today on Netflix. It will be coming out. Now, the anticipation has been really high, considering the fact that usually some of these horror movies actually do come with a lot of anticipation. Now, the movie is called We Have a Ghost. It is a family story, and talking about a family that moved to an area in discovery that their house is being haunted by a ghost. That is something that they are looking at, and of course we'll be taking a look into the trailer of what that movie is all about.
Okay. No, I'm serious, Kevin. Caught him on camera. Oh, we gotta show Mom. No.
The entire world is captivated with Ernest.
3 million views in 6 minutes. That's money.
Our whole street's kind of mad, thanks to you guys.
Jesus Christ. Not funny.
Kevin. Oh, it's so trippy. Can you talk? What happened to you? You don't remember?
Mystery.
If we're gonna find out what happened, you're out there.
Our orders will apprehend the ghost. Light him up! Being an outlaw suits you.
Well, they're now being haunted by a ghost of, a former agent. And when they become social media sensation, they're now targets of the CIA. That's what the movie is all about. But also there is a ghost haunting them. It is starring some of actually my favorite actors. Anthony Mackie is in there. He's best known for his role as the Falcon and now Captain America. And of course his appearances in the Avengers, he's in there. But also you have actors like, that is Haber, that is David Haber right there, best known for his role in Stranger Things. He's also in there, and of course playing Ernest, the ghost haunting the family. That's a movie for you to catch. It is already streaming on Netflix, and of course one you can go for this weekend. Now, I want to take you back. Some of the movies that have been the favorites of all times, if you may say. And this one is just a series of actually 3 movies. Now, it takes you through a story that you probably have heard a little bit about it, but maybe you would want to rewatch that, or even for the people that haven't watched, The Hobby, the film series The Hobbit. And that is where we come in with some of the sensations from some of the, I don't know, witches or whatever you might call it. You have characters like Bilbo Baggins, you have Thorin, you have Gandalf the Great, and you know, characters like Gollum, Kiri, right there. It is a story of The Hobbit, a series of 3 epic high fantasy adventure films, and that was of course directed by Peter Jackson, who also has been a lot involved in adventure series. You also look at more of how it was actually subtitled. The first movie, that is The Unexpected Journey, then the second one that came in, The Dissolution of Smaug, and The Battle of the Five Armies. Those are the movies that you can catch, especially if you want to hold on to the Hobbit story. That is the one that would be very nice to catch this weekend. Let's take a look at the trailer.
Has found a way back into the world. Why don't we have a game of riddles?
And if it loses, what then? Loses precious, then loses. If Baggins loses, we need stone.
Fair enough.
I will take each and every one of these dwarves over the mightiest army. Loyalty, honor, a willing heart. I can ask no more than that. Home is now behind me. The world is ahead.
That is a very unexpected journey, like it was titled. And of course, this is the same director that actually gave out Lord of the Rings. So the two series are kind of connected, but you would want to understand one before you get to the other. So The Hobbit is a huge part of that. The story of Bilbo Baggins before you get to the Lord of the Rings. That is an interesting one, and of course, one of the best adventure series ever made in history that you might want to catch. But also, talking about one of the best ever, a love story, and a movie that you probably have caught before, but also maybe you've heard about it and you were wondering where to have this movie from. We're talking about the Titanic. Well, it is a romance and drama movie talking about the story of a 17-year-old Rose who now hails from a family, a big family, but also a very twisted family, and is said to be married. But when she boards the Titanic, she meets Jack Dawson, an artist, and falls in love with him. Now, the horrors of what happened that night, what happened after that, has shaped a lot of love stories, and it is still a story that people can catch on. Of course, it is starring Kate Winslet and Leonardo DiCaprio, who is playing Jack Dawson. This movie came out way back, and that was in 1997, but still has managed to keep on screens up until now and has made a reference to a lot of love and romance movies across the world. Now, they have unveiled also a 3D Dolby version that is now playing in theaters, in cinemas, and even right now it is showing at most of the cinema places here in Kampala. You could catch it this weekend. That is the Titanic movie. Let's take a look into the trailer. Well, there is a chance for you to catch this romantic horror in cinema. It is now showing in streaming, and of course you can catch that. And also, if you want to watch, I think I would rewatch this movie over and over. For some reason, it is horror, but it has a good story, a very fantastic story. But in case you're not a fan of movies and probably won't be catching one, you need a good read. We also have something for you if you're looking at some of the top books in 2023 so far. And this is already on almost all the book websites. It is online. We're talking about the Atomic character right there. Now, this book goes in at what habits can you get into life? An easy and proven way to build good habits and break bad ones. That is the Atomic Habits. Now, this book is already getting good reviews. That is from Goodreads. It has already given it 4.4 out of 5. 94% from Google users already that have had to read that. And of course, also one of the best sellers on Amazon Kindle right now. It is a story and authored by James Clear, an expert on habit transformation, which reveals practical strategies that can teach you how to form good habits, but also how to break bad ones and master the tiny behaviors that lead into remarkable results. Now, it's a transformative strategy, but talks about how you again get successful from changing your lifestyle. That is what is coming through from the Atomic Habit, one that you can actually get online, but also for those who are able to order for some of these books and you have the platforms, you could get it. But it's readily available on Amazon Kindle, readily available on Google Reads, and also across the Apple Store. You can also, the Apple book store, you can also get that. And also teaching us what to do in life. We do talk about I don't know, we're talking about moving out, and some of the things when you move out of the house, you're faced with a lot of people that you now be building life with, bad habits and good habits. How you break those? You might need a manual, and that is one that we're recommending out for you. Well, it is a Friday special. We still have a lot of entertainment coming through, and we'll be getting to that. For now, we'll take a short break. When we get back, more of that on the line.
Live from Now Avenue in UBC Studios. This is Good Morning Uganda. This is Good Morning Uganda.
This is Chilling. Don't miss a brand new season of Chilling on UBC TV.